Decorated athlete Oscar Pistorius broke barriers as the first double amputee to run in the Olympic Games. History was made in the 2012 Olympics, where he ran against able-bodied athletes in the 400-meter race, allowing him to become a household name. Millions of people from every nation tuned in as Oscar was set to compete against some of the fastest men in the world. Visibly different, Oscar donned the yellow and green South African uniform, wraparound Oakley sunglasses, and carbon fiber prosthetic legs. As he positioned himself on the starting blocks, Oscar couldn't help but smile as all of his dreams were coming true. Oscar had everything going for him at the time: fame, fortune, and a girlfriend who adored him. Although Oscar would later be eliminated in the semifinals and fail to medal, that day would forever change the lives of many, and Oscar alike. Receiving a medal in the Olympic Games would have been a dream come true, but breaking ground as a disabled person competing in the Olympics was his greatest feat of all. Oscar was living the life that many would envy. However, all of that would change in a few short months. On the morning of February 14th, 2013, Oscar would hold the lifeless body of his girlfriend, Reeva Steenkamp. Born without fibulas, the smaller bone in the leg behind the shin bone, Oscar had to have his legs amputated at 11 months old. He was given prosthetics, and within a few short months, Oscar was walking. His mother was his inspiration growing up, always giving him words of encouragement. The real loser is never the person who crosses the finish line last. The real loser is the person who sits on the side, the person who does not even try to compete. As a child, Oscar participated in various sports. Despite not being athletically gifted, Oscar worked hard and showed extreme perseverance. He experienced his parents' divorce and his mother's death at a young age. As a distraction, Oscar dedicated himself to sports. A few years later, Oscar experienced a serious injury to his knee during a rugby match that would lead to a new discovery. While rehabilitating his injury, Oscar discovered sprinting as a way of nursing his knee joint. Equipped with new, lighter prosthetic blades, Oscar ran faster than any other double amputee, spawning a newfound skill. After winning several races, Oscar was invited to participate in the Paralympics. Enjoying his newfound success, Oscar qualified for the 2012 Olympic Games in London. As a participant in the London Games, he became the first ever double amputee to run a race in the Olympics against able-bodied competitors. Competing in the Olympics placed Oscar in the spotlight, making him a celebrity of sorts. In November 2012, Oscar met model and reality star Reeva Steenkamp. The two hit it off almost immediately and began dating. Over the next few months, Oscar and Reeva would experience many ups and downs in their relationship. As the relationship unraveled, tragedy would strike, and Oscar would be faced with a decision that would change the course of his life forever. On February 14th, 2013, only 4 months after meeting Reeva Steenkamp, Oscar would be responsible for taking her life. A neighbor observed Oscar hovering over Reeva's lifeless body and overheard Oscar crying and screaming out that he thought she was an intruder. Oscar was arrested and charged with the murder of Reeva Steenkamp. Over the next several months, prosecutors would attempt to establish a motive as the question remained: why did Oscar kill Reeva? The trial of Oscar Pistorius began on March 3, 2014. Presiding over his case was one judge and 2 assessors with no jury present, as jury trials were abolished during apartheid. The prosecution had prepared 107 witnesses to testify against Oscar. Cell phone records had been obtained, as well as text messages taken from Reeva's phone. The prosecutors focused on messages Reeva sent to Oscar, describing her feelings towards him. Messages explaining how Oscar was easily triggered and how his actions made her fearful. Oscar was known to have a short temper and an affinity for firearms. In one incident, Oscar accidentally fired a gun in a Johannesburg restaurant and couldn't account for how it was discharged. The prosecution alleged that Oscar intentionally shot and killed Reeva following a heated argument on the night of February 13th. Several witnesses testified that they heard shouting as well as several gunshots. During cross-examination, Oscar was asked to recount the events that took place that evening. Oscar claims that he and Reeva had dinner on the evening of February 13th. The two returned home around 8 p.m. and lied down to watch TV as they fell asleep. In the middle of the night, Oscar claims to have heard a sound coming from the nearby bathroom. Fearful that an intruder had broken in, Oscar states that he grabbed the pistol from his nightstand and approached the bathroom. He yelled out to the intruder, but did not receive a response. In the darkness, Oscar fired 4 shots through the bathroom door. In the darkness, Oscar fired 4 shots through the locked bathroom door into the bathroom. Hearing screams that sounded like Reeva, Oscar realized that the intruder he heard could have been Reeva all along. Unable to open the door, Oscar returned to his bedside to put on his prosthetic legs. Using his legs, Oscar kicked the door but could not gain entry. He grabbed the nearby cricket bat and used the bat to reach the bathroom door panel and unlock the door from the inside. Once inside, he realized what he had done. The intruder that he thought he'd shot was none other than his girlfriend Reeva. He immediately fell to his knees to grab a hold of Reeva when he was found by his neighbor Johann Stipp. It was said that text messages were sent from an ex-lover that sparked the argument. However, Oscar's phone was wiped and no evidence to support the theory was found. Reeva's mother, June, claimed that Reeva was set to leave Oscar that night. She stated in her tell-all book that Reeva had packed her bags and was planning on informing Oscar of her decision that evening. June believed that Oscar was possessive and was bound to kill someone sooner or later. June echoed the sentiments of the prosecution in her belief that Oscar intentionally killed Reeva. The prosecution failed to prove that Oscar intentionally killed Reeva. If Oscar accidentally killed Reeva, why did he destroy possible evidence by wiping his phone? Oscar claimed that he heard an intruder in the bathroom, but did not wake Reeva to validate what he'd heard. Oscar also claims that the room was pitch black, so dark that he could not see, but he easily located his pistol, his prosthetic legs, and the cricket bat he used to break down the door. If Oscar truly feared for his life, why did he not immediately put on his prosthetic legs after grabbing his pistol? Oscar had limited mobility without his prosthetic limbs and wouldn't have been able to fully defend himself without them. The prosecution presented the same questions along with evidence that suggested intent. The evidence did not prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Oscar intentionally sought to kill Reeva, and as a result, Oscar was acquitted of the murder charge. Oscar was, however, charged and convicted of culpable homicide because he was fully aware that his actions of firing shots into a confined space could kill. On September 12th, Oscar was sentenced to 6 years in prison. He would later be released on house arrest for good behavior. The South African courts felt that the sentence was too lenient and appealed the sentence. Oscar would later be resentenced to 13 years and 5 months in prison. Did Oscar intentionally kill Reeva? Was his sentence justified? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If this is your first time tuning in, drop a like and consider subscribing. Don't forget to check out the other videos in the channel. See you on the next one. Thanks for watching.